Welcome to Quick Time Event, a gaming and nerd culture podcast brought to you from the heart of it all. I am one of your hosts, Josh, and as always, I am joined by my partner in crime, John.
Me.
Quick Time Event is a chance for John and I to get together each and every week to talk about all of the nerdy things that we love. And boy, howdy, do we got some shit to talk about this week.
Yeah, we do.
If you like what you hear in your ear holes, you can find us live on twitch.tv/CDR Magnus every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or on all of your favorite podcast services, including iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. You can also get us on YouTube Friday afternoons. I feel like every week something changes in my opening spiel, and then I have to pause and I almost fuck it up. But I didn't fuck it up. I didn't say anything wrong. We got it.
You did it. I'm just slowly devolving when you say that you're joined by me. Eventually, it's just going to be a scream.
You used to have like a little like catchphrase. Not a cat. You wouldn't have a regular catchphrase, but you would like...
Yeah, I would try to make a catchphrase, and like every week I would either forget or be like, no, that last one sucked. I'm changing it on purpose.
And then you were just like, hey, it's me, everybody. It's me, John. Hi. And then now it's just like, hi, I'm now here.
Me.
Next present.
Time, we're losing letters, losing syllables. It'll just be a nondescript scream soon.
Can you...
I can try to do like, I don't know. I can try to make a catchphrase again. It'll go as well as it did last time.
I need you to learn how to do... I forget. What's it called? There's a couple sound effects that are like used very regularly.
The Wilhelm scream
or
whatever?
The Wilhelm. There's two of them. There's the Wilhelm scream. Famous scream, not the painting. The Wilhelm scream is the one that's in Star Wars. It's in everything, but I think it's used at least once in every Star Wars film. It's kind of a thing. But there's another scream that's like a horror scream. I mean, fine. It's also called something like the Wilhelms. But anyway, it's like stock. I need you to replicate that. Like
every week I just scream until I get it right.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm trying to find the horror one. Stock.
Hey, you know what's truly horrifying?
I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Man, we had a choice as a society.
They did give us a choice. You know, they came out and said, you know what? This is going to be bad for you. This is bad for you.
We've seen this. Listen, I have seen this. This forbidden knowledge. I'm telling you, you don't want it. Here's your question. Do you want it? And like fools, we all said, yes, we want it. Oh my God. The internal anatomy of a Fall Guy is so much worse than I could have possibly imagined.
So to give some backstory to what John is talking about, I don't know that all of our listeners play Fall Guys. I'm assuming everybody, unless you live under a rock and somehow we're your only form of entertainment, has seen Fall Guys at the very least. Anyway, the Fall Guys Twitter account, very active. We've talked about Beanbot while the social media manager was out on vacation a couple weeks ago. Very active Twitter account, very interactive Twitter account with the community as well.
Oh, for sure. 100% what you should be aiming for as like a social media marketing manager or whatever.
Right. And so yesterday, Fall Guys, at Fall Guys Game on Twitter, tweeted, "One of our artists has shown me an illustration of what's really inside of a Fall Guy. I wish I'd never seen it. I'm giving you a chance to be spared from this monstrosity. If I tweet it, it becomes canon and we can never take it back. Choose carefully." And then it was a yes, should we show it, or a no, lock it away, and never let anybody else see it.
Delete
Don't make
it
it
forever.
canon. Please delete.
327,431 votes later.
84% said fucking show it to us. Cowards. You're not going to show us.
We are ready.
Then they show it, Well, you asked for it. This is official lore now. Remember. And then it has a couple bullet points here. Next to the drawing, they showed a full-size human for scale because prior to this,
a 6 foot human,
a 6 foot human,
not a short person, but
right.
like a 6 foot, I guess, average height.
Sure, because Fall Guys are 6 feet, so this all needs to come. You need a frame of reference.
Yes, this is your banana for scale, except it's a human being.
And the image they showed is the Fall Guy, transparent, and you can see his skeleton. Inside is a pretty human-like skull.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only describe the rest of the body as chicken-like. I don't even know.
Yeah, some kind of bird.
It looks like a bird meshed with a frog meshed with like a velociraptor.
Yeah, it's kind of like a pterodactyl skeleton.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is what I imagine a pterodactyl skeleton would look like if it was placed inside of a bean.
And if that was not horrifying enough, the skull is like at the back of the head. So there's like an empty space between where the skull is and where the faceplate of the Fall Guy is. And so to rectify that, there are eye sockets that come out of the skeleton head and snake up to where the eyes are on the front of the Fall Guy exoskeleton is what I'm going to call it. And there are eyelashes on those eyes that for some reason do not go through to the outside of the Fall Guy. Very horrifying, to say the least.
Also just eyelids. I don't believe I've ever seen a Fall Guy blink.
No. If I had seen this image when I was a young lad, like an elementary school lad, I would have probably had nightmares for days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
This is the kind of thing.
Somebody retweeted it, and I don't know if they did like the true to scale whatever they did, but allegedly the just absolutely horrifying fingers are the size of steering wheels.
Oh my.
Which, if you look at the comparison to the human model, yeah, that looks about right. I would believe that.
And then that they kind of backed off a little bit. And today they tweeted
They apologized.
Basically, it's an apology without actually saying the words "I'm sorry," but they showed somebody else, another of their artists.
I think
rendition.
the lead artist who was like, "Hold up."
And
we gotta walk this back.
It's very cute and cuddly and sunshine and rainbows. It's Fall Guy.
Also, it's like only 2 feet tall. Like it's a cute little bean you could pick up.
Sure, it's a Pokemon size Fall Guy, and it has a heart of gold, and very cute. So, and then I think the Twitter account said something along the lines of, "Who can tell for sure which is which?"
I think the most horrifying thing possibly for me about this Fall Guy, and I've put a lot of thought into this, is so the skull is that far away from the faceplate, but it has a mouth. What does that mouth do?
Yeah. There's a mouth on the inside of but there's no external mouth.
Yeah, and what's around the skeleton? Is it eating like its own muscle? Like I don't want to know. There's a lot of things that I don't want to know.
We unlocked Pandora's box. We as a society unlocked Pandora's box. And once you unlock Pandora's box, the entire point is that stuff doesn't go back inside the box. So this is out.
It's empty. It's open.
This is life now. This is what Fall Guys is.
These are honestly though not as bad as it could be for 2020.
That's fair.
Could be worse.
So other than reeling in the horror of I don't even know what you would call that. Horrible decision making on the part of gamers everywhere. What have you been up to?
Oh boy, has my week been busy, Josh. Has
Busy
my
as a
week
bee.
been busy? All right, I'm gonna start with last Friday, and I'm really gonna try to zip through this because there's a lot, and we've got a lot to talk about. Um, so last Friday, Mario came out, but I was like, you know what? I really want to play this Moon game just a little bit more before I like inevitably probably put it down. And so I played it for a couple more hours, and like I don't think I've ever had an experience like this. Because as I play this game and as I progress farther and like figure things out, I can feel a secret cult watching me and slowly I'm becoming a member
Mm,
without knowing it. But
mm.
it's not like a bad cult. It's not a bad thing. It's just that like as I play this more, I know that I could go to a subreddit that previously I would be like, what on earth is anybody in here talking about? And now I think I know everything they'd be talking about. It's just a completely different world.
Hmm.
I Before I was hesitant to recommend this game. I think I would now.
You
Just because
think you would?
it's so just weird and different and out there and like not just for the sake of being weird, but like weird in a good way. Sometimes a not great, not good way. But like if you have the time and you have a little bit of extra money, it's like I think $12 or something. I would 100% at this point recommend it solely for the experience that you're going to get.
You know I love putting things in boxes.
Yeah.
If you could compare what you're talking about right now, have you experienced that in any other form of media, or can you compare that to any other property, be it film, TV, anime, games, whatever?
Honestly, nothing to this exact degree.
Hmm.
Like
You've piqued my interest because
there are certainly movies that are like just very strange and I've enjoyed them partially because of their strangeness. But the interactivity makes it like that much more it makes you more in depth with it.
hmm,
Like I think that's why it feels like I'm slowly joining some hidden group as I get farther because like I'm clearly making decisions and doing things. And there's just so much hidden in this game. It's oh man. It's just crazy. It is a one in a million kind of experience, I think.
hmm. The only thing that's connecting with me, what you're saying right now, is the way you're talking about this game reminds me of Kentucky Route Zero that I played earlier this year, where I just didn't understand any of it.
Hmm. I
Is
mean,
this, is there
you'll
like,
probably like this game because like the premise is basically did I talk about what the premise was?
I don't think so.
Okay, so the premise is you're a kid who is playing an RPG. Like you start out the game playing a game.
Oh, you talked about the knight and he was a dick.
Yeah, and there's a knight and he's a dick and he's going around and just killing innocent creatures to get EXP and level up. And like it seems like he's basically breaking the world. And you're going around trying to gather as much love as you can and like balance things out and make things right. Because to save the world, you don't need to be a dick and kill everything. You need to show some kindness and compassion and take the time to talk to your Gramby. I would recommend it personally, but like if you do play it, give yourself a couple hours and maybe let yourself look up the so one thing that would have really helped and I saw some Twitter account tweeted about this after the fact. They have since posted the like instruction manual online that came out with this game originally,
Okay.
because there are some things that you just don't quite understand.
What year did this game come out?
I think it came out on PlayStation 1.
What?
Yeah, it only got re-released recently. Let's see.
I don't know. This feels like it's gonna be outside of
PlayStation Japan, October 16th, 1997.
Okay, so like launch year, like year 2 of the PlayStation in Japan.
This is old.
Okay.
Which is probably adding to the just very strangeness.
Cool.
I really am having a fun time with it. I've set it aside for now just because, well, we'll get into that, but it's just maybe at some point, like I'll whenever I'm in Columbus or something, I'll let you just play around on it and see if it's something that you want to invest your time in. Because I don't think it's definitely not like it's not a money sink. It's only like $12, but I don't want you to get a game if you're not.
It doesn't sound like something I'm gonna like. To be completely honest, I might just go watch a YouTube video, but we'll see.
It is just very, very strange. One of a kind. So after that, I got Mario, and within like 3 days, I got 120 stars in the first game, and I have since gotten like halfway through Sunshine. So you were right on the head with I think last time I asked you how far you thought I'd get, and you said through the first one, halfway through Sunshine. So yeah, you nailed it. I also started Agretzko. Brilliant show, love it.
How far?
It's so good. It's very it's so relatable. Not the death metal screamo part, because I don't personally do that, but just like some of the little things, like going to a store and like guilt buying something really small just because you spent too much time there, and then being asked if you want a reward card and being like, I'm never gonna come back, but why are you doing this to me?
Are you still in season 1?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just started it today. So I finished the first 5 episodes. And the reason I just started it today is, remember last week when we were discussing how fall is now scary time?
Sure.
Yeah, guess who got, I think and hope, was a cold, but was very anxious about it the entire time.
Well, you're here now.
Yeah, I'm much better now. But if I could recommend one thing, don't get sick during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what the pandemic is, just avoid getting anything, because especially if what the pandemic is basically shares half of its symptoms with a common cold. Because like I had a fever and I was like, oh no. I was so safe. I was so careful. I always had my mask on. I barely left the house. Like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? But I truly think it was just
well, your fever was only around for like a day, right? It wasn't like
one or 2 days, yeah. And it never hit anything super high. Like I wasn't waking up with like 104-degree fever or something. But still, just that one shared side effect, or that one shared symptom, I was just like, no, please, why?
You got to quarantine for 14 days now.
That's fine. I'm like 5 days into it. I haven't left the house. So, other than to walk my dog. Would not recommend.
Yeah.
Don't get a cold. Don't get a flu. Don't get strep throat. Just don't get sick. Don't get sick.
That's the best.
Ever, preferably. But if you are going to get sick, wait until there's a vaccine out for COVID-19.
Sure.
Because it's a choice.
If only it were that easy.
How about you though? Oh, and just real quick, as a nice little touch of irony at the very on the top, I got my cold the same day that I got my Apple Watch. So all the health metrics and like exercise that I was so excited to be able to track, yeah, no, didn't happen.
No
None of my
time for
rings
that.
have been closed until today.
Nice. So my week has mainly consisted of Dark Souls, and
Nice.
it was very unfortunate because what was
Mhm.
it? Was it Friday night? I think. Yeah, it was Friday night. I was playing Dark Souls, and I was in Blighttown. And if I remember correctly, the last thing I talked about was that I was at Quelaag in at Blighttown's bonfire down in the
Yeah,
swamp. I was fighting
and
Quelaag, and I was losing
you needed a
terribly.
new sword.
I needed to go and repair my equipment because I didn't have the repair kit. I didn't buy that yet,
Hmm.
and my weapons were broken essentially. So I finally found, as soon as you said there was a ladder over there or there was a path, I immediately saw it. I don't know why I didn't see that ladder to begin
Hmm.
with, but I found the path back through the Londor ruins or whatever to go back up to the Firelink Shrine and go back up to the fucking city or church thing to get to the blacksmith and
Undead
fix
Parish,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Although I should have just went to the blacksmith that was down in New Londo Ruins. Now I'm thinking about it, but oh well.
It's
No wait,
whatever. Once you're that far in the game, like Undead Parish and Undead Burg are just whatever. You can breeze through it.
yeah. But anyway, I fixed my shit. I come back. I'm on my way back down because
Mhm.
I had saved the bonfires on the way. Just I didn't want to hike all the way back up
Yeah,
down from there. So I
just in case you like accidentally rolled off a cliff or
sure.
something, which can happen.
Right. So I wasn't able to use the homeward bone or whatever it's called to go back to
Yes,
the swamp right away. So I
that would
had
have been a
to
good strat though.
should have, but I had to walk the entire way there. I make it down into this room where there's these three giant ogres with these fucking clubs.
Hmm.
Very annoying.
Was it like a cave
Yeah, it's the cave.
hallway kind of thing
Yeah, it's the
that
cave
connects them?
between
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm in
I
that
know
connecting cave.
exactly where you're talking
So
about.
I'm in that cave. I get past. I wasn't fighting them. I just wanted to go right back down to the
Oh
swamp.
yeah, just run.
I ran past the first two, ran past the second one, but the second one somehow lunged at me and got me, which pushed me over the edge down into the swamp. Except I didn't fall into the swamp. I didn't fall to my death. I fell onto a rock.
Hmm.
And on that rock, I could not move. I could not move. I could not roll. I could not die. I was pretty much just shit out of luck.
Now
And
I hesitate to ask. I'm almost 100% sure that you tried this, but I'm worried that you didn't. Did you try to homeward bone?
I did,
Okay.
but it wouldn't let me. Like
Okay.
as I was cast, it would cancel out the cast. I didn't even know you could do that with an item, but it would like cancel out me using the item. Basically, I was falling. Even though I was on the rock, the game appeared as though I was falling continuously and I couldn't stop falling.
Sure. Broken.
And so totally broken. I turned off the game. I came back into the game. I quit out. I came back in the same place. Couldn't do anything about it. Just totally borked. Nothing I could do.
That sucks. I've never heard of something that bad happening.
Yeah. I must have just fallen through like the one little slot that apparently FromSoft put in there just to fuck with me specifically.
Pixel
And
perfect.
I had to restart.
Just call this man Pixel Perfect Josh.
Yep, had to restart. I probably played like 15 hours to get to that point. I started the game new on Saturday, and I was able to get to the point that I was at in 3.5 hours.
Once you
I
know what
just
you're doing, it's a
Steamrolled
lot
through.
faster.
No issues with the bosses. Beat them all on the first try. Nothing with very minimal deaths. If I died, it was because of something stupid.
Sure.
But just a cake to get back there. And then I played Dark Souls for the last couple of days. But yesterday,
So how far are you now?
I am at.
Are you finished with Disney?
Yeah, I finished all that.
Okay. So you can finally warp now.
I can warp.
Yeah.
I don't know where
that's what I wanted to know.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go. So right now I'm down in the catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
I beat the easiest boss of all time that like duplicates herself. That took like 3 seconds to kill.
Trying to remember which one that is.
She's like this caster enemy that like she creates clones of herself.
I think I know. Is that right before the Cave of Giants?
Yes, that's dark.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am now
Does she have like this big scary weird mask thing with like the
I don't
faces,
remember. I think so.
That sounds like it.
Anyway, I beat her and now I'm in the very dark cave and I hate the very dark cave.
Yeah. I know the pathway kind of by heart now just from running it repeatedly because I would die and then I would just immediately start sprinting again.
So I haven't played Dark Souls since Tuesday. I guess, well, was it Monday? Monday or Tuesday.
Sure.
But since then, I also decided to purchase a new game from Atlas and Sega called 13, a new game. I called 13 Sentinels, I guess Rim, which is a game that came out in Japan about a year ago and was just localized this week. It released this week. I was not interested in this game all year, even though that Atlas has been marketing it very, very heavily for the last 2 months or so, ever since, whatever, I guess, Catherine Full Body, I think, was the last thing that came out on Switch.
Yeah.
Sometime in the summer. But since then,
I'm still intrigued by that game, but I know that I'd feel just gross and dirty playing it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But I wasn't interested in 13 Sentinels at all throughout the entire summer. And then this week, just something about just like the way the game looked kind of grabbed my attention. And then I read about the work that went into like the dubbing and stuff. And I kind of just decided to buy it on a whim. And I'm about 2/3 through the prologue. The prologue seems pretty long, but I like it a lot so far. It's mostly a visual novel. It's probably like 70% visual novel, 30% strategy game.
Okay.
Like, not turn-based strategy. Like, it's hard to explain. It kind of is turn-based. It's weird. It's a game that, honestly, like the way that it looks like it probably could have came out on the PS2. I think it was originally supposed to come out on the Vita. This is a game that's been in development hell for a long time. I think it was announced back in like 2013, so it's been in development for like 7 years. I think it was originally announced for PS4 and Vita, but then they canceled the Vita port of at some point, and they finally put it out last year in Japan. But the art style is really unique. It's you can tell it's definitely Japanese inspired. It's got some anime influence in it, but it's more visually, it's more like a painting almost. It looks almost like oil painting kind of. And the story itself is very sci-fi. You can tell that it calls a lot from some older Japanese films, like old kaiju films like Godzilla or whatever. But there's a lot of like newer sci-fi themes in there too, from things like Pacific Rim and some other movies and sci-fi media that's come out over the last 10 years from the West too. So it's pretty interesting. I'll have to report back on it because again, I'm only in the prologue so far. Basically, the premise is you're following 13 characters and you play as all 13 characters and they each have their own story, but the stories all intersect.
This sounds like what was that movie? There was a movie that was similar to this, but like I'm sure that the plot was completely different because this is Japanese. Oh God, what was it? I'll have to think about it.
But yeah, the plots all intersect with one another, and there's like a big mystery that you have to uncover about why this is all happening, it looks like, and how you can solve it. I also bought it because it's like so they're all teenagers, they're all in high school, and they're stopping the
So it's
apocalypse
Persona.
essentially, and that's a trope that I tend to enjoy. So
Yeah.
I'm giving
I
it a shot, and I like it so far. The combat is very very basic. I think it might get more diverse and more difficult, I guess, as time goes on. There is a difficulty level you can select from, but like visually, the combat portion of the game, which is probably again only like 30% of it, is very very like low res stuff. Like you're piloting these giant mechs essentially, but the mechs you don't even really see them in the combat. It's just like a little glowing like dot essentially is what your sentinels look like, and the
Sure.
enemies are red glowing dots. So very very basic. It's a full price game. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to pay $60 for a 2D game, hold off for a sale. But the game is also scoring like nines from almost everywhere that's reviewing it. So apparently it's very good, and I want to give it the shot that it looks like it deserves.
Yeah, graphics don't determine everything. Just look at Moon.
So I'll report back next week when I've played more, hopefully. Gonna play it on stream this weekend.
Nice.
If you want to check it out there.
I'm probably going to take a quick break from Mario because I believe today the Cadence of Hyrule DLC came out that added a new campaign.
That'll do
So
it.
I expect it's just gonna be more of the same, but for that kind of a game, that's not a problem at all for me.
You're not gonna try Kirby Smash Bros. Whatever 2.
No,
Apparently,
I think I'm gonna pass on Kirby same day announced and released Fighter Bros. No thanks.
what the hell is that thing?
I don't know, but it's apparently a sequel.
You're right. It's $19.99. It's $20 game where you're Kirby and you're playing as the people you suck up as Kirby
Yes.
in Smash Bros. But that's it. You're just Kirby's fighting each other. What? And it's a sequel to a game that apparently came out on the DS or something. It was a
I would
handheld.
assume it was a handheld, yeah.
But like, what was the thought process? Why did Nintendo greenlight this? What were they thinking with this?
I don't know. I guess they were. Maybe this was their way of saying, hey, if you keep annoying us about not using certain IPs, we'll just give you shit with that IP. Because people have been kind of complaining, I think, a little that like there's been no new Kirby stuff.
Wasn't there a new Kirby game like last year?
Was there?
There was a new one out on Switch, at least in the last one, or it was the one that came out right before Yoshi, I thought. Yoshi's Yarn something? It was Kirby. There was a new Kirby game relatively recently.
I don't know what it would have been. Everything that I find is just annoyingly and unsurprisingly Kirby Fighters 2 at this point. It's taken over.
Kirby Star Allies. Came out
for Switch?
Yep, came out March 16th, 2018.
All right, then I guess this is just Nintendo. I don't know.
Is it just is it just we want quantity? We don't give a shit about the quality part right now. It's like we have nothing to put out. Here are 3 straight ports from games that we put no effort into, and here's also a $20 thing that you probably already own if you own Super Smash Brothers.
I mean, to be fair, everybody until like September kept saying 2020 Nintendo has no games. So I guess this is their really annoying response. Their very petty response.
I would call it petty.
Yeah. I want to know who the target audience is.
It's a fighting game.
Because like you
right?
have Smash Bros.
Right.
Just go be Kirby in that.
Everybody has Smash Bros. too. Smash Bros. Is like, if you own a Switch, you probably own at least 3 games, and one of those 3 games is Smash Bros.
Yeah. The other's Mario Kart, and then probably either Zelda or Mario Odyssey.
Now, I don't know that there are hardcore Kirby fans out there, but if there are
There have to
hardcore
be.
Kirby fans, those people have to own Smash Bros. So why aren't you just playing Smash Bros?
Yeah,
I don't
you know
understand.
what? On my on my Twitter feed every once in a while, I really don't know how these topics get curated, but every once in a while, like it'll give me the topic of Super Smash Bros, which I'm fine with. That's okay. And there'll be a person who is like making a mod to play as Waddle Dee or like Bandana Waddle Dee, and I'm like, what? And then there's a bunch of people who are like, yes, make this real, put it in Smash, and I'm like, hold up, time out. You want to play as the enemy that, if I remember the Kirby games right, just walks back and forth. Because I don't think they did anything. Those were the ones that if you sucked them up and ate them, a star popped out because you got nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, Kirby's always been like the super easy game, right? Like in the original Kirby on the NES or the SNES, whichever one it came out on, you could just float at the top of the screen
Yeah,
and avoid
float,
everything.
float above it to the boss. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Kirby stands
Kirby-
out there. Last week we didn't know shit about Five Nights at Freddy's. If you are a fucking Kirby fanatic, please at me on Twitter at CDR Magnus and tell me what the hell's going on with this. Is this something you wanted? Now that you have it, is it something that you want?
I really
That's what I
like
wanna know.
I really like that we're finding these like topics that we want people to teach us about, because right now we've got good stuff. Like we've got actual topics. But eventually we're going to delve into some really weird stuff, I think. And that's when somebody's going to want to come on.
Right.
Like, oh, for this first party Nintendo series? No. For like this really weird culty like TV show that had 3 episodes in 1984? Yeah. Yeah, that's when we'll get an expert to be on this show. Love it.
We've I mean, despite the whole COVID thing, and a lot of this is probably because of COVID, but it's been like a pretty good year for at least gaming news. Like there has been stuff to talk about pretty much every week that we've had a podcast. Because last year I remember there were several weeks where we were just struggling to find anything to talk about.
Yeah, we like ran out of evergreen topics even.
Right. And this year
we just had to take some weeks off.
Yeah, this year it's been chock full. No shortage of things to talk about in the games industry. And that is the true this week as well. Because Microsoft went out and dropped $7.5 billion. Billion with a B. $1 billion on ZeniMax Media, which is the parent company of things such as Bethesda Studios and id Software and a bunch of great things. So let's talk about Microsoft buying Bethesda.
Can they just like, whenever you see a number like that, it is basically unfathomable.
7.5 billion means nothing to me, who is comfortably middle class. That number means nothing to me in terms of anything that I can understand about money. What the fuck would I do with $7.5 billion?
If you got, let's really make ourselves upset. How low of a fraction of this would still be too much money? Holy shit! If you got if you got 0.01%, so 1/100th of a percent of this money, that's $750,000.
That is my salary for several years. Many years there.
If you get 1,000th of a percent, you're at $75,000, which is like
college for 3 people.
I'd say that, or just like a pretty well-paying salary for a year for like a maybe management position.
Sure.
For 1/1000th of what they just spent, they could have hired a manager for a year. Not 1/1000.
7.5
I'm sorry, 1/1000
of a
of
percent.
1%.
Right.
That's just absurd.
Okay, here's the story from Games Industry is Microsoft has announced the surprise acquisition of ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda Softworks. The deal costs $7.5 billion and expands the number of development studios Microsoft owns from 15 to 23. It also adds 2,300 employees and some significant games
Jesus.
IP to Xbox's portfolio. Among Bethesda's internal development teams were Bethesda Game Studios, as well as Doom developer id Software, Dishonored creator Arcane, Wolfenstein dev Machine Games, the Evil Within team Tango Gameworks, ZeniMax Online Studios, AlphaDog, and Roundhouse Studios. Other IP now under Microsoft's ownership includes Prey, Rage, and upcoming new properties such as Deathloop and Starfield. In a blog post, head of Xbox Phil Spencer said the company's franchises will be coming to Xbox Game Pass.
I would hope.
The company has since clarified this means all future releases such as The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will be available via Game Pass from launch. In a separate post by Bethesda's Vice President of PR and Marketing, Pete Hines, the newly acquired company said it will still be publishing its own games, perhaps suggesting some of its games may still come to non-Microsoft systems. GamesIndustry.biz has contacted Bethesda and Xbox for more information. Over the last few years, Xbox has acquired several other high-profile studios, starting with Playground Games, Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, and Undead Lab, later adding Obsidian Entertainment, and last year purchasing Double Fine. Phil Spencer has since told Bloomberg journalist Dina Bass that Xbox would honor the exclusivity commitments for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo for PS5. Spencer went on to say the future Bethesda titles would release on Xbox, PC, and, quote, other consoles on a case-by-case basis. $7.5 billion, 2,300 employees. Like 5 or 6 new studios, maybe more than that.
I truly, because I will never understand all the inner workings of all of this, I have just one question. In today's day and age, when Walmart of Canada leaks all of the E3 titles, how is this not leaked?
I think, honestly, it was
this just like two people made of gold sat in a locked room together and said, okay.
See, this is the really interesting thing, though, because I think this really did come hard and fast at Bethesda. Because, I mean, you look at what that last sentence I just read was, or the second to last sentence. Microsoft is, and this is going to be weird, we can talk about this in a second too. Microsoft is honoring the exclusivity deal that Bethesda worked out for both Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo on the PS5. Deathloop is supposed to come out now early next year. That was pushed to Q1 2021. Ghostwire Tokyo has nothing. We don't know anything about the game when it's coming out. They created those exclusivity deals with PS5 at some point in the last, I would guess, 6 months. We didn't hear about them until we didn't hear about those deals specifically until Sony dropped the very first, where they first showed off the PS5. That was the first time we saw the exclusivity deals for both those. And that happened in July. So I would think that this happened within the last 6 months. And if that was announced back in July, I think this deal had to have come to fruition between then and now.
So it wasn't something that was worked on in secret behind closed doors for
doubt it.
a year. It was just one day Mr. Xbox is just like, you know what? I want to spend some money today.
I don't know what the reasoning is, but I know the reasoning, but I don't know what pushed Microsoft to do it now. But yeah, the timing on this is super weird. Super weird. So, where do we start? Let's now go to Pete Hines' statement. Pete Hines is the Senior Vice President of PR and Marketing for Bethesda.
I think it was a great partnership, Pete Hines says, as he holds $800 million in one hand.
So this is straight from Bethesda.net, their blog there. Pete Hines put out a statement about the acquisition. And the part that I want to draw attention, I don't want to read the whole thing. Shoot, there was something I wanted to read, but now I'm not. Hang on, give me 1 second.
$7.5 billion. Like, these just aren't numbers aren't real, but these numbers especially aren't real.
Right. So I guess let's start with what this means for Bethesda. So here's Pete Hines talking about what this acquisition means for Bethesda.
Better mean that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out sooner. Jesus, you got literally unlimited money being pumped into you now.
Okay, Bethesda Softworks, our parent company, ZeniMax Media, and our many internal studios now employ thousands of talented people working in publishing offices and development studios around the world. We've gone from one internal studio to many, from a focus on single-player fantasy RPGs to developing massive MMOs, first-person shooters, and everything in between. The world, our industry, and our company has changed a lot in 34 years. Bethesda Softworks was since Bethesda Softworks was first founded. Today it changed again, and I know that brings up questions. But the key point is we're still Bethesda. We're still working on the same games we were yesterday, made by the same studios we've worked with for years, and those games will be published by us. This is all like just marketing speak. It can all change at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But from that statement, it leads me to believe that they're going to be more independent than the other studios held by Microsoft.
Yes.
But the key point is we're still Bethesda. We're still working on the same games we were yesterday, made by the same studios we've worked with for years. And here's the key, and those games will be published by us. Now, that's kind of a weird statement to say that they're going to be published by Bethesda. What does that really mean? Are they going to say... Like, is Bethesda still a publisher of games?
I don't know.
Or...
It'll be a weird split screen where it says Bethesda and then a little line and, like, Microsoft.
Yeah, it's weird because this isn't the same as Activision Blizzard's merger. Because that was a merger. Activision and Blizzard decided to join forces and create Activision Blizzard. Activision did not buy out Blizzard, which is what Microsoft did to Bethesda. But in a similar way to how Blizzard for a long time seemed like it was operating with Activision, where Blizzard was sort of still autonomous. And it still, I think, is, but it seems like over the years it's becoming less so.
It's a more blurred line, yes.
It seems from that statement that Bethesda is still going to be publishing games and is still going to have some degree of autonomy when it comes to the IP that they're creating. Now, how long that lasts is a question that no one can answer. Like, is it as long as Pete Hines and Todd Howard are there, and then once Pete Hines and Todd Howard retire, or when they're forced out, or whatever the hell, then it's just a complete free-for-all, and all the studios are just Microsoft studios at that point? No one can say for sure.
Yeah.
But at least for right now, the way they're talking about it, and this is the way we have to analyze it until we learn otherwise, is it seems like Bethesda is going to have some degree of autonomy.
Yes. It really seems like, to put it in a really weird way, Bethesda just got a new sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Like, it still gets to do what it wants. It has no true obligations. It still has its arrangements with other people with PlayStation 5. Now it just has... It wants money? Okay. Go talk to Xbox. Go talk to Microsoft. Blank check. Hey, we need to hire 100 more people to finish this game. All right, here you go. Here's $5 million, and here's an extra one just for you. Cool, thanks. See you in a week.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting to see how this goes. Let me pull in now Todd Howard's statement. Todd Howard, what is Todd Howard? what even is Todd Howard? Todd Howard only addresses himself as Bethesda Game Studios. I know that he is. He is. What the fuck is?
Oh man, if he's Bethesda Game Studios, then Microsoft just bought him.
What the fuck is Todd Howard?
$7.5 billion for Todd Howard.
He serves as director and executive producer at Bethesda Game Studios. Okay. Executive producer is what Todd Howard is.
Hmm.
I know him as the apparent. He's like the face of Bethesda Game Studios, the company that puts out the game studio that puts out Fallout, that puts out the Elder Scrolls. He is the leader of that studio, Todd Howard.
Yes.
If for some reason you don't know who that is. Todd Howard's statement, again, I'm just cherry picking here, but the statement that I really wanted to call attention to is down here. He talks about how their partnership with Microsoft has evolved over the years, because Bethesda started off as a PC publisher. They created the first couple Elder Scrolls games only on PC, and then Xbox and Microsoft approached them about putting Morrowind on the original Xbox. And from there, Bethesda started to then branch out into the console space as well.
Yes.
So they've been together for a long time, and this deal really makes sense in a lot of ways. But let me read here now from Todd Howard's statement on Bethesda.net. Like our original partnership, this one is about more than just one system or one screen. We share a deep belief in the fundamental power of games and their ability to connect, empower, and bring joy. And a belief we should bring that to everyone, regardless of who you are, where you live, or what you play on. Regardless of the screen size, the controller, or your ability to even use one. We can't think of a better group of people to do that with than those at Xbox. We have friendships that go back to those original days, from Phil to his senior leaders to development support. They don't just talk about putting players first, they passionately live it. So again, I'm probably reading into this, but when they say we share a deep belief in the fundamental power of games and their ability to connect, and a belief that we should bring that to everyone, regardless of who you are, where you live, or what you play on, regardless of the screen size, the controller, or your ability to even use one. That still sounds to me like Bethesda is going to have, again, a degree of autonomy over what they're doing and the games they're publishing. Whether that means those games go to PS4 or the Switch is up for debate. And again, no one can answer that question as of right now, but it at least from my perspective, it seems like from Bethesda's leadership, from Todd Howard, from Pete Hines, they want to continue putting their games everywhere.
Yes.
And Microsoft, to their credit, has been good about doing that.
They haven't been pushing the exclusive agenda. They've just been pushing the, hey, get on our subscription agenda.
Right. And they continue, Minecraft has been, for a while there, it was iffy whether or not they were going to continue supporting Minecraft on PS4, but they decided to do it. And just this week, the day after this announcement, they pushed a PSVR version of Minecraft to PS4. Now there is PSVR Minecraft. There is an exclusive Xbox game on the PlayStation VR. This is a crazy fucking year. This is going to be the craziest generation of all console generations, with how Microsoft in particular is dealing with their IP. And
what's their end game? I really want to know, cuz from a wide view, it really does look like they're being good guy Microsoft. Just, hey, we like games, we want you to play games, we're going to support the creation of games, and you just pay us money for a subscription, or hey, if you don't have this, go play our game somewhere else. That's fine. It just seems very backwards from what you think of when you think of a business as trying to make as much money and forcing its own brand.
You do until you realize that Microsoft is trying to fundamentally change the name of the game.
True.
Netflix wasn't built in a day. The Netflix that we know now took, several years to get off the ground, and it took a lot of money investing in original content being put there. And Microsoft, already had the backbone set up to do that with its first-party studios. But was that enough to get people into the service? And the answer was no, it wasn't. It wasn't until they started bringing on Well, it took a pandemic to get people to buy into it because it was a cheap entry. That certainly helped a lot. And we'll talk. Do I have that on here? I don't think I do. But Microsoft is at 15 million subscribers now for Game Pass, up from 10 million. Even just I think it was like 4 months ago is when they hit 10 million. So they've gone up 50%.
Those
in
are some
4 months.
Those are some good numbers.
The
for 'em.
pandemic certainly helps that situation because people are tight on money, and Game Pass is an incredible value for what you're getting out of it.
It's what, like $100 a year, right?
Something like that. It's like $15 a month. So 100 or 240.
I think you can. I think can't you bundle it for $100 a year or something? Or no?
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe Game Pass Ultimate is 150. I don't remember. But 15 I think is
just that math alone. That's $1.5 billion from Game Pass subscriptions this year.
sure.
And
Although to be
assume
fair,
$100.
I don't know. No one knows the number, and Microsoft is never going to say the number. But a significant number of people using the service are either on trials or they got into Game Pass like day one when they allowed you to basically upgrade for $1 a month. There was this weird promotion about a year ago where they said, "Hey, if you can, for however long you subscribe to Xbox Live Gold, you can upgrade to Game Pass for $1 a month." And there were people who went out and bought like 4 years of Xbox Live Gold for $200 and then graded Game Pass for like an extra $40. And now they have Game Pass for 4 years basically, and they paid $40 for it.
Yeah, I know some people who did that. Smart. Hindsight.
So there's a lot of like weird numbers there, and who knows if all 15 million are like regularly subscribed or whatever, but it's still super impressive no matter how you spin it.
It's a ridiculous user base that is going to generate profit.
Sure. And that was without Bethesda. That was without EA coming to the service last week. I think we reported on, or the week before. EA Play is now a part of Microsoft's Game Pass. So now when a new game, when Star Wars Squadrons, I don't know this for sure, but I think when Star Wars Squadrons releases October 2nd, that's going to be on Game Pass day one because they have that partnership with EA Play. And now all of Bethesda's titles. Doom Eternal's coming, I think, very soon. It was announced sometime today that Doom Eternal is going to be on Game Pass here in a little bit. That's a game that came out this year. Obviously, as Bethesda starts to actually release new games, not counting the super weird exclusives they still have with PlayStation that Microsoft is going to uphold, those are going to be day one on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Just a very weird set of circumstances. And, that's when we get 2 or 3 years into this generation, that's when Game Pass is going to start paying dividends, not only for Microsoft, because when Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield launches, you're going to get loads of new subscribers to the service at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's also going to start to pay dividends for gamers even more, because now a bunch of games they would have spent money on are there day and date.
Yep, and at no additional cost.
Yeah.
No $60 one-time fee. It's just, hey, here's my $10 for the month.
And
I was playing this anyways, so.
And that is why I think, again, I'm basing this on nothing. I'm just a talking head, not even a professional talking head, just a talking head that can say anything he wants on the internet.
Amateur talking head.
I think that, with maybe an exception here or there, the major Bethesda titles are all going to debut on PS5 the same day that it comes out on Xbox. Maybe there's a short window of exclusivity, something like that. But I don't think it hurts Microsoft at all, because, okay, yeah, but you can pay $70 for this on PlayStation 5, or you can get it free over here. We don't care either way. We're getting money either way.
You're paying us one way or the other.
Right.
You're just paying us less if you happen to be on our box, on our ecosystem.
Right. It's that, and that's what leads me to believe that, especially, I think for sure, in my heart of hearts, I believe for sure the Bethesda Studios titles, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, those games will be on PS5 too.
Yeah.
The ones that are iffy for me are like Doom or Wolfenstein. I still think those games are big enough that it makes sense to put those on PlayStation. I think some of the smaller studios, like the future of Arcane, whatever they do after Deathloop, that might be an Xbox exclusive thing. But I think the major big Bethesda Studios titles will probably still be cross-platform. But again, I don't know. That could change, or whatever they want to do. We'll see, I guess.
They've got the money to do basically anything.
Yep. So I have a couple topics. I know we've talked about a lot of this already, so we don't have to go through all of this in depth again. But first, the magnitude of the purchase. We already did a bunch of calculations on what $7.5 billion means.
Absurd money.
Let me throw out one other thing for you, though.
Okay.
Disney
Uh-huh.
purchased Star Wars for $4 billion.
So for double the price, essentially, of Star Wars, because who cares about
Who
0.5 billion?
Sure. Only
double the
$500
price.
million.
For the only double the price of Star Wars, they just bought everything.
That's insane. Star Wars, one of the biggest money-making IP of all time, sold for almost half of what Bethesda sold for.
Good on you, Bethesda.
Seriously.
You've clearly shown your value. If you're getting an offer like that.
I don't know if Bethesda was a publicly traded company or not, but if it was, I'm sure there are a bunch of stockholders that are very happy right now.
Oh yeah.
$7.5 billion.
Like, I know this isn't how it worked, but I'm just imagining Mr. Xbox, Mr. Microsoft calls Mr. Bethesda or Mr. whatever, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm all right." "So, how would you feel about $7.5 billion?"
Who do you even call? Who makes the phone call? I want to know, like, how did this happen? I want Jason Schreier.
I want to know that too.
Or I want Danny O'Dwyer or someone in games media to go and do like an in-depth thing on how this happened, because I think that this is like this is a very pleasant thing. Like, there's no animosity here, from what I can tell from anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody at Bethesda's excited about this. Everybody at Microsoft's excited about this. Phil, Pete, Todd, they're all talking about this.
Like, did all the higher ups get on their own private yachts and have like a big boat party? They were like, "Hey,"
they all drove out. They all drove out into what do you call the Bay of Maryland? Because Bethesda's in Bethesda, Maryland. What is that?
Chesapeake Bay.
They all drove out of the Chesapeake Bay, and they're all on their yachts, and they make a circle of the yachts, and then they all get on Zoom on the yachts, and they're all FaceTiming or doing a Zoom conference in the middle of Chesapeake Bay.
I mean, let's be real. These are technology giants. They secretly have the hologram projections from Star Wars at this point, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're doing
They
it
all
like
have
Jedi.
they all have their own little council.
They're doing Jedi Council style, where they're all sitting in basically the same room, and there's one like actual meeting location, probably in Seattle, and they're all conferenced in there. I can believe it.
That's how it works. You heard it here.
So the next topic on here, I think we covered enough already, what it means for Xbox and Bethesda. Obviously, Bethesda, hopefully it means they can make games faster, but it gives them,
Hopefully. It gives them a safety net if they needed one.
For sure. And it just gives them more resources, and to work directly with a company that's supporting not only their platform, but a new platform that theoretically could be universal at some point. It just makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah.
Plus, you go back and look at their history at the beginning of the Xbox, with how they developed for the Xbox, what they learned for developing for consoles, and now Bethesda is one of the big. I mean, it was one of the biggest publishers out there. Here's another thing to think about: the magnitude of the purchase. At E3 every year, there are 6 major conferences. There's the big 3: Microsoft, Sony, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Then there's the other 3: Ubisoft, EA, and Bethesda.
Yep.
Microsoft just bought one of those things.
And they have a partnership with EA for Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess now E3 is just half Xbox, half the rest. I mean, PlayStation's gone.
True.
Who knows if they're coming back?
Yeah.
Nintendo just does directs anyways. So now it's Xbox and Ubisoft, I guess.
Also, can you think about, like, Bethesda used to fill an hour by themselves
Yes.
for a press conference. Microsoft now has all of their stuff plus all of Bethesda's stuff. That is an insane amount of content. 23 first-party studios.
God, I just hope we start seeing like actual titles coming from them.
So here's
I
the
know
next thing.
we saw quite a few within the last couple months, but like, aren't there still, I don't know, 5 or 6 unaccounted for studios when it comes to what they're working on?
Yeah, something like that. But here's the next thing I wanted to talk about. It was probably about a month ago, I think. The Xbox had their showcase where they showed off the Halo Infinite gameplay. It was actually probably like closer to 2 months ago now. They showed off the Halo Infinite gameplay. They showed off the Fable teaser and a bunch of other stuff that was just basically selling people on Game Pass.
Yes. Yeah, it was the secretly we're trying to get you to buy Game Pass, not get excited about the new box.
Sure. After that conference, when we were podcasting, we had a discussion about what next generation means and what these companies are doing. Where we said Nintendo is doing what Nintendo always does. They're focusing on on family friendly games. They're focusing on their own IP. They're focusing on being weird, as Nintendo does.
Yes.
PlayStation is pushing the big blockbuster Hollywood level titles, and then Microsoft over here is trying to be the next Netflix, where they're trying to make you buy into their services.
Yes.
And that was how next generation was going to go. That's the company philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
With Microsoft buying Bethesda, is that still the case? And we can't answer this question. We can't answer a lot of questions. All we do on this podcast is postulate and throw hypotheticals out there. I don't think we'll know the answer to that until we know whether or not Bethesda games are going to be exclusive. At least the major ones. Because if Microsoft comes out and says, you know what? Fuck you, Sony. No. These are all ours now. Nice. We paid $7.5 billion for Bethesda. You can get these on your Xbox or you can get them nowhere. Peace out. If they do that, I don't know who is now the blockbuster. Like who runs Hollywood at that point.
Yeah. Then you have a true like Disney versus Universal kind of thing.
Right. Because Xbox game studios prior to the Bethesda acquisition were okay. Like they were pretty decent. You had Halo, you had Gears, you had Forza, you had Fable coming up. They had a pretty decent lineup of games that are traditionally well-regarded IP, but they're nowhere close to what Sony was.
No.
But bringing on Bethesda software, which includes the Fallout IP and includes the Elder Scrolls IP and includes now the Starfield IP, bringing on Doom, bringing on Wolfenstein, and now Arcane Games.
Real heavy hitters.
Arcane Games, developer of like the Dishonored games, obviously, and now Deathloop that looks awesome. We're now talking about a situation where Microsoft Studios now do they not only outnumber Sony Studios, but the quality, I don't want to say Sony is now a lesser quality, but
nobody's outdoing each other in quality, but
now the quantity is in Microsoft's playing field.
Yes. And the quality is like arguably on par.
Sure.
Whereas before it was, you had mentioned it quite a few times, Xbox was selling themselves as a sea of sevens.
Right. Now the quality is on both sides.
All the tens. Yeah, now you've got tens on both sides, but
Microsoft has
Xbox
more.
Just bought more.
Right. So now I feel like Microsoft might have just hedged their bet. If Game Pass does fail spectacularly, which I don't think it will at this point, they can at least go back to saying, well, fuck, we got Bethesda now. These are all ours.
We're exclusive.
Buy an
again.
Xbox. It's like middle fingers and walk out of the room at V3, basically. They could do that if they wanted
Yeah.
to. I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen.
I don't either. It does not fit the dialogue and the vibe that they've been giving off for the past, honestly, like 2 years.
Yeah. But it is, worth it to say that they could do that.
Oh yeah, it's 100% an option for them. Before it was like, hey, Microsoft doesn't want to play nice anymore. All right, that's fine. I didn't care about any of their IP anyways. Now, now you can't make Microsoft mad.
No. I thought about pre-ordering an Xbox Series X. I thought about it. We'll talk about this in the next story. I was not able to, even if I wanted to, but I did think about it because Bethesda is one of my favorite was one of my favorite publishers. Maybe they still are, depending on what they're doing or how they're doing it. But like, Doom was great this year. Wolfenstein, throwing away the Wolfenstein game that came out last year that was like that multiplayer thing. Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 2, the remakes or the reboot or whatever, two of the greatest shooters of all time. Skyrim, Fallout 4.
At least you don't have to, if you have Game Pass now, you don't have to buy Skyrim like an 18th time for the new Xbox.
But they'll sell it on. This is more
They'll
reason.
sell it on PS5.
This is more reason why I truly believe they're going to put all these games on PS5 too, because they can say, well, you know what, you can pay for Skyrim the 8th time you want. If you want to buy Skyrim 8 for the 8th time, you can do that.
Also, it is now $69.99.
Right. Also, it's $70 or Game Pass. Because every time they do that, it's just like, not only are they the good guy for putting it on PlayStation, like out of the kindness of our hearts, PlayStation, you can
we're playing nice. You can be able to play this game on your system, even though it's our
game.
IP.
Right.
Yeah.
Out of the kindness of our hearts, you can have this. But it's $70. $70 for a game that at this point came out 2 years ago. I don't know. But it did make me consider buying an Xbox, and in the future, depending on how they go about this, I might buy an Xbox for these.
Yeah.
Now they did say that, the quote from Phil Spencer was these are all going to be available on Xbox and PC and other console platforms on a case-by-case basis, is what he said.
Yes.
So they're all going to be on PC. I'll probably play them on PC, but if it's a game, if it's like a 100-hour RPG that I want to play on my couch, if it's not available on PS5, I might buy an Xbox.
Yeah.
I have not thought about buying an Xbox.
Especially since now you don't have to, again, going back to their streaming service, you don't have to buy the game.
Right.
You just have to buy the box and like spend $10 a month.
Yeah. And I'm not someone that replays games, so I'm good with getting I mean, at that point, if Bethesda's putting out truly a lot of their stuff only on Xbox, then they have enough studios where they're probably releasing one thing every couple of months, and it's just worth it at that point to buy Game Pass for the year.
Yeah.
And now they've captured me into their service.
They did it. They got you. Hook, line, and sinker.
So this is really interesting. I mean, I'm still someone who wants to support PlayStation, and I want to support what they're doing with their first-party studios, and I like the PlayStation ecosystem. I like trophies. I like the PlayStation community. I like all of that stuff. However, Microsoft is pulling me in to get invested in their stuff too. It's not something where I would abandon PlayStation. I wouldn't cancel my PS5 pre-order to get an Xbox Series X. All I'm saying is that Microsoft they've piqued they've got me essentially. They haven't got my money yet, but they've captured me enough that I'm more than likely buying an Xbox this generation at some point, which is not something that I really did last generation.
Yeah. You sold your Xbox last generation. Right. You did the opposite. I mean, I guess at one point
I
did
bought
buy
and
it.
sold. Yeah, right.
Yeah. You can't sell something that you didn't buy unless you stole it.
Yes. So, super interesting. Not every day that you see a $7.5 billion deal go down, let alone be it two of the biggest forces in the games industry. And this has to be the biggest deal ever for any games industry, business decision, any business deal. The only thing that is even remotely,
I would guess so.
Possibly even media-wise. Like, Star Wars has to be up there. I think that Disney bought Marvel for less than it bought Star Wars. So if Star Wars was $4 billion and Bethesda is 7.5, that's a lot. That's big.
I gotta imagine that was not a. We talk about how they have just the Scrooge McDuck vault of money.
Yeah,
that had to have cut that down significantly, right? Please.
I don't know. I read somewhere that Microsoft has cash on hand, not net worth, not anything. I read cash on hand. They have like $300 billion somewhere.
Jesus.
And I don't know if you saw this, but Satya Nadella, I think is how you say his name, whoever the current CEO of Microsoft is, he came out and said, well, I think we're not done buying studios yet. So we'll see who they buy next.
Oh, God.
I saw it.
When are they just going to buy everybody?
When
are they going to end the console war and they just buy Sony somehow and just merge into one thing?
I don't know.
The X Station or the Sony box.
I really thought, honestly,
Playbox.
Before they bought Bethesda, I really thought this could be the end for the Xbox. This console generation could be the end for the Xbox because they are moving on. They don't need the Xbox anymore. They're selling the service. They could put Game Pass on Nintendo. They could put Game Pass even on PlayStation if they would allow it.
Yeah.
They're selling the service. They don't need the box. But now I don't know. Now everything is just, it literally could be anything. Because Microsoft may have this might be enough to make them take the lead this generation. It's hard to say. We'll see how it all plays out.
It truly, truly is.
Okay, so moving on from the Bethesda acquisition, let's talk about pre-orders.
Oh, goodness. Buckle in.
We covered the PlayStation 5 pre-order drama last week. Horrible leak by Walmart. Just decided to put everything out. Everybody else followed suit.
It wasn't PlayStation's fault. It was just all the stupid retailers were like, "Oh, what's this button do? Sure. Go live? All right."
Despite it not technically being PlayStation's fault, PlayStation did apologize. They put out an official apology on Twitter, which if you followed PlayStation for a long time, this is not something that they really do, which leads me to believe that they're taking this very seriously. But PlayStation tweeted, "Let's be honest, PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that. Over the next few days, we will release more PS5 consoles for pre-order. Retailers will share more details, and more PS5s will also be available through the end of the year." So, they're not putting out, it's up to the retailers to decide how they're doing pre-orders. I've seen some retailers come out and say, okay, we're opening pre-orders again on this day. If you want one, get in line, basically. I saw earlier today that PlayStation sent out...
Stop doing like in-store pre-orders or something? Like you have to actually physically go to stop people from like...
I think it's a retailer thing. So if they wanted to do it all physically, they could, or they could put it online or do a mix of it or whatever they wanted to do.
Sure.
But anyway, there's more PS5 pre-orders coming over the next week or so, probably. And then there will be more consoles available through the end of the year continuously as they make more. They're going to ship them as fast as they can make them. But a huge disaster.
Yes.
We did not cover last week the NVIDIA RTX 3080 launch.
Another very big disaster.
NVIDIA's graphics cards, the 3000 line of graphics cards, are game changers for PC gaming. The 3080, which is the middle tier card, is cheaper than the 20, whatever the middle tier card was in the 20 series. I think it was the 2070. But it's way more powerful.
Yes.
Like the 3080 card, which is the middle of the road card for this generation, is a crazy increase in graphical fidelity and graphical power from the GPU for these cards. They're going to be incredibly popular, and we saw that when they released them on September 17th is when they released them. They didn't even do pre-orders. They just put them out in the wild, and everywhere was sold out of the cards within a second of the pre-orders or the ordering system opening.
Oops.
NVIDIA also put out an apology for the launch, and they added more protection against bots. This article comes from IGN. NVIDIA revealed its next generation of graphics cards earlier this month and immediately had the internet abuzz, and for good reason. The RTX 3080 offers more than twice as much power as its predecessor at almost half the price. The company reported more than 4 times the traffic on its website as compared to the 20 series launch and stated that over 50 retail partners reported record traffic to their sites. Many people woke up early hoping to secure their orders only to find the graphics cards were sold out almost instantly, with many taken by bots. RTX 3080s were being listed on eBay shortly after for thousands of dollars above the retail price. So basically, they opened up the shop and the bots bought out all of the stock for the 3080s. I have a couple friends that are my mutuals on Twitter that I just know that tried to get in line for this and were very, very upset when they were sold out immediately. Transition this to Microsoft's time to shine. Microsoft put out a little bit of a punchy tweet against PlayStation for how massively disorganized their pre-order system was. They were like, hey, you want an Xbox? Make sure you get in line at this time. And you can get your Xbox. Just make sure you know you're on at the time that you need to be on at.
Yep.
Bad news for Microsoft is that it didn't help because stores were just shut down. Like the online websites weren't working. You had to click the eBay or you had to click the Best Buy listing like 50,000 times just to get it into your cart. And then once it was in your cart, it would disappear. Amazon wasn't up right at the pre-order time. All you would see were the dog photos, like the Amazon, we're sorry, our site's down. Here's a dog to look at. That was like that for like 30 minutes. No, but I mean, people got the Xbox. People got to pre-order the Xbox at least. But it was a disaster.
It was a disaster in a different way.
Just tons of sites down. Just nothing's working. And it makes sense. Like these companies are going to go out and like drastically increase their bandwidth for a day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't be like, oh, our pre-order system is going to go flawlessly. Haha, PlayStation, also, that sucked. And then it just implodes on itself.
Also, they went into it, and I'm sure we're going to get into this a little bit more, but with their naming conventions.
Yes.
I saw somebody tweet that like the Xbox One X saw like a 1,700% sales increase or like a 700%, a really, really big sales increase on Amazon.
Yeah.
Basically after the pre-orders went up, probably because a bunch of parents don't know what the hell Xbox even is at this point.
Yeah. I think the tweet I saw said that the Xbox One X went up the Amazon sales chart. It was like number 747 and it was like in the top 10. So it increased by like 600 places.
Yeah.
That's not because a bunch of people were suddenly interested in buying Xbox One X's.
No.
That's not a coincidence.
They thought they were getting the new one.
But also, The Xbox, shoot, I'm forgetting what it's called now. Xbox All Access, is that what it's called? Where you basically you get the Xbox and Game Pass Ultimate, but you pay a monthly fee for 2 years.
I think that's what it was called.
The Xbox All Access pages I checked this on both Amazon and on Best Buy. If you clicked on the Xbox All Access link for the Xbox Series X or the Series S, for a while at the beginning, it was taking you to the Xbox One S page. Not the Xbox Series S page, the Xbox One S page. Which apparently you can still get that via the Xbox All Access program. So not only were stores just completely overwhelmed and a ton of people are upset that they didn't get their pre-orders, even though they were on at the time they were supposed to be on, they just couldn't get the damn thing into their cart. You also have a bunch of people that bought the wrong product and most of them probably have no idea.
Yep. And by the time they figure it out, like for Christmas or something.
Right. These kids, like, how many kids?
Too late.
How many kids are going to open up their brand new Xbox on Christmas Day? But it's not going to be the Series X that they asked. It's going to be the One X they already have. How many? Like that? Enough is the answer. Way too many.
Yeah.
Are there more people who have Xbox One X's on Christmas Day that were trying to get the Series X? Or are there more Xbox One S / X or PS5 digital editions on Christmas Day where parents also bought discs? Which one? Are there going to be more kids that have discs that can't use the discs because their console doesn't use discs? Or are there going to be more kids that have consoles that aren't what they wanted?
I think that there's going to be more kids who have discs that they can't use solely because the Series S also is discless.
Right.
So like you have that happening on
both platforms. Yeah, that makes
Whereas
sense.
At least for the naming convention,
yeah,
PlayStation is, normal. At this point, I think I would prefer it if Xbox had just gone with a naming convention of, for the first Xbox, it's Xbox. For the second Xbox, they just add an X before and after. So it's XX box. And just add X's before and after.
Yeah.
Every time.
No, they went 360. And then was it 720? No, it wasn't 720. It was 1.
Xbox 360, Xbox One. Xbox One
X and then S.
Xbox One S.
And then all the S all digital edition, and now you have Series S and Series X.
I hate it. I don't think this will ever get old.
No.
We could talk about it every week and I would just get annoyed and laugh.
That is one thing that PlayStation 5 has a firm lead over Microsoft, is just the simplicity of their naming.
Yes.
Elegant even.
Please
the PlayStation 5.
Please don't ever break away from that place from that naming. Please. I can't handle.
So moral of the story is pre-orders fucking suck in the year 2020, especially when everybody is laid off and at home on their computer just waiting to get these things right away. Or if they're working from home and their boss isn't watching, they can be refreshing 50 browser pages to try and get a pre-order instead of working. Shocking that they went that poorly.
Little bit.
I do think that these sites need to start doing something about, especially the bots, though, because I think lot of the 3080 card was 100% bots just buying all the cards right away.
Yeah,
the Xbox.
I did read something. I forget where it was. I think it was a random Discord channel I'm in, but like somebody knows somebody else, something like that, some kind of situation like that, who set up their own bot to bid super, super high prices on eBay auctions.
Right.
And then they just don't pay.
You can bid whatever you want. You don't have to pay once you win the bid. Like when you win an auction, you don't actually have to pay the money that you bid.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people
over some piece of shit who bought all the all the 3080 cards
Right.
and be like, all right, you bought all those. Enjoy sitting on them until there's enough stock that people don't want them anyways.
The other thing is these scalpers. Like, okay, not only are the bots themselves shitty because they snatch everything right away, and they also overload these websites in the case of the Xbox load, where if the bots weren't there,
There's still an
pre-ordering
issue, but not as bad.
not as many. Especially on sites like Amazon, that just were clearly overwhelmed that the page wouldn't even load.
Yeah.
As if that's not bad enough. Then you have those scalpers taking it to eBay, where again, they are gouging prices. But there are also people on eBay trying to be the epitome of just horrible, shitty people that are selling Xbox Series X and then in parentheses .img. And they're selling the JPEG of the Xbox Series X for $800. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Why is that allowed?
Yeah,
on
how
eBay?
is that? How have we not come up with a way to, get past a scam that was probably invented 20 years ago?
I mean, you see this shit with like football tickets or concert tickets all the time. Scalpers just gouging people for money.
Yeah.
Through tickets. Like eBay tries at least to have like they have the thing where you can't, all of the Xbox stuff that's up right now isn't even allowed to be up. If you go and report it, they'll take it down because you can't sell a pre-ordered item more than 30 days from the launch of the item. And
Okay,
we're not in
that's
that
good.
window yet. So everything that's up right now actually should be able to be reported and taken down. It's just like there needs to be an extra layer of security there for these scummy people that are trying to steal money
Make
from
a
people.
very quick buck off of,
Ignorance or
yeah,
Yeah.
naivety.
Sure. It's shit. It's shitty. But what I was getting at is these websites need to start putting measures into place to prevent these bots from being able to do this. Like,
Clearly, all the robot checks are not working. The captchas.
second factor authentication for something like this shouldn't be that big of an ask.
No.
I saw that actually of all the retailers out there, GameStop actually had a queue system for the Xbox launch, where they put you in a queue, and then when it was your time, you had the ability to buy the thing. That's smart. Why the fuck doesn't Amazon do that? Amazon has bigger pocketbooks than Microsoft, I think, and if they don't, that's just as big. It's all at that point, it's all made up anyway. Like the money doesn't matter. They could do whatever they wanted. If they wanted to have a
They're inventing
smooth
numbers with their bank account.
pre-order, they could have done that, but they didn't.
Yes.
It should be there should be measures in place to prevent that stuff from happening. At this point,
100%. Inexcusable.
2 more short stories. One I have not looked into that deep because it was reported today. And
Yeah, this is the very, very new news.
Amazon announces new cloud gaming service called Luna. This article comes from Andrew Webster over at The Verge. At its 2020 hardware event today, Amazon announced a cloud gaming platform called Luna. The news isn't too surprising. The service has been rumored since last year, previously codenamed Tempo, while an Amazon-made game controller leaked out today just ahead of today's event. It's not clear when Luna will launch widely, but it will initially be available on PC, Mac, Fire TV, and iPhone and iPad, with an Android version planned for after launch. Amazon says that interested users in the US can request early access to the service starting today. There's no word on international availability. The service will be available for an introductory price of $5.99 a month during its early access phase, which gives subscribers the ability to play Luna Plus channel games across two devices simultaneously and offers 4K 60 FPS resolution for select titles. Naturally, it will be powered by AWS, Amazon's ubiquitous web platform. Amazon says more than 100 games will be available via the Luna Plus channel, and launch titles include Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, A Plague Tale: Innocence, The Surge 2, Yooka-Laylee, Grid, Abzu, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Amazon says more titles will be added over time. The company has also partnered with Ubisoft for a specific gaming channel. Here's how Amazon describes it. Players who subscribe to the channel will have access to their favorite Ubisoft titles in up to 4K resolution, mobile gameplay, and access to new titles when the channel launches, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Immortals Phoenix Rising the same day that they release. This is the first of multiple Luna game channels in development where customers can play games from their favorite publishers and genres. So, Amazon has decided to compete with ye old Microsoft Game Pass.
And Google Stadia,
And ye old Google Stadia. It's not really Game Pass actually so much as it is xCloud, although xCloud sounds like it's just being rolled into Game Pass as one thing. It sounds like Microsoft is trying to just make xCloud a piece of Game Pass. So Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are the three big players in this now. Amazon sounds a little bit more interesting than Google's, only because of these gaming channels that they talk about with Ubisoft. So with Stadia and with Game Pass, it's basically just like you subscribe to the service, and whatever games happen to be on the service, you get to stream. With these gaming channels, it looks like Ubisoft has already partnered, so there's going to be like $5.99 a month is the introductory price for the service. And then it sounds like you can maybe pay extra for these extra channels that also include these other these publishers' games the day they come out.
My personal favorite thing from this announcement was the take that, oh God, what's it called? Hard drive?
Yeah.
Their take on it. They were just like, you know what? Screw it. Here's our cloud gaming service. Here's the controller, and they just posted like some. I think it might have been the Switch Pro controller.
It was a Switch Pro controller
that just had like a little piece of paper taped to it that just said hard drive streaming service controller, and it's like at this point, yeah, that's basically what's happening.
It's so weird it's not that it's weird, it's just like not all of these can survive.
No.
At this stage of the game. This would be like if Microsoft is getting Game Pass off the ground. This is like Netflix in 2009 when they just started the streaming stuff on the side. Like Netflix was still predominantly something that you would get your DVDs in the mail and you would mail them back when you were done watching them. But you also got access to like some stuff that you could watch via streaming. We're still in that phase. But Amazon and Google are coming in like if Crunchyroll and I don't know, something else a little bit more obscure than Hulu decided to join the fray in 2009 before everything was proven and like before the market was there, because right now the market's still not there. 15 million gamers or 50 million subscribers to Game Pass is great, but there are 200 million console gamers out there. 15 million is 7% of them, not even 10% of them.
I would assume you would want a user base of like 30% to be viable.
Probably. And I guess Amazon and Google are appealing to PC gamers and not console gamers, I guess, anyway, with the way that these services work. It seems to me to have three major players in this streaming space at this stage.
Too soon.
There's not enough people to go around. And I think we're seeing that with Stadia. Like, I have not seen a single thing about Stadia that's been positive still, and it's been out for a year now. Like, Google never touts its Stadia numbers.
No. They probably hide them.
I guess it's interesting because Amazon does have the Twitch factor, and there is some Twitch integration with this, where, like, if you're watching Twitch, you can link right to the game if it's available in the Amazon, what's it called, the the Luna system. So it seems like there is maybe some cool stuff they could do with Twitch, but
we'll see. It's too early to tell.
Right.
I mean, this thing just got announced today.
And I'm not sold. I'm still not sold on cloud gaming. Game Pass is one thing because you have all those games, you can download them. It's another thing though when we're talking about games streaming. That's a whole separate thing.
100%. You need to have very good, consistent internet to be able to do that.
And to be quite honest, a company that you trust. I trust Microsoft with games because Microsoft has proven over the last 20 years that they have a vested interest in games.
Yes.
Google and Amazon have not done that. They've said that they're going to several times. And to be fair, Google has been trying for the last year or so, more so than they ever have before, to make sure that Stadia is at least moderately successful. Have they succeeded? No. They are putting in the effort. But does that mean I trust them? No.
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 If you have somebody who's like trying to get into med school and they are really trying their hardest, but they just can't do something right, I don't want that person to like
they don't
do
deserve
surgery on me.
Right, they don't deserve.
You got to prove that you can like, be successful. You need to show some kind of results. Willpower and like staying motivated is one thing, but you got to have something to show for it.
Yeah. So for Amazon to enter this space somewhat unexpectedly, I mean, this has leaked for a while, and it's no secret that Amazon wants to get into the gaming space. It's just like Amazon and Google are just not the companies to do it.
No.
They just
financially, sure.
Sure.
In terms of like understanding and passion for the topic and subject.
That's exactly
absolutely not.
They don't have the passion. When Microsoft launched Xbox, they proved that they had the passion. Like they with Halo and with the community they started to build, especially because of that game. And honestly, with the RPGs that they published, like Morrowind and like Knights of the Old Republic, they proved that these are things that like gaming is something that we care about and we can do this well. These are all exclusive games in the console space. They're not on the PlayStation. They're not on Nintendo. These are things that only we can do at this time at least.
We are a business and therefore trying to make money, but we are also trying to do something that we think is beneficial.
Amazon and Google don't do that. No. They've never done that. Amazon is all about making money any way they can. Amazon purchases Twitch. Twitch becomes a lesser product than what it was before from a community standpoint and from like a... It has better features, but it's not as... Yeah, true. It's not as welcoming. Welcoming's not the right word. You know what I'm trying to say, though. It's not as... It's more corporate now. Dip. I wouldn't say quality though, because like the features Amazon put investment into Twitch to expand the feature set. It's just not as like genuine and not as it's a suit now. Twitch is a suit.
It's gone from mom and pop shop to like chain store on every corner.
In the same way that like Google did with YouTube. Like YouTube used to be a place to share cat videos, and now it's what it is.
Yeah.
Same way that Facebook and all these big tech companies go. It's just Google and Amazon, out of all the tech companies out there, are the ones that are the most faceless. They are the suits. They are just like the generic person in a suit board meeting kind of thing. Microsoft, despite having a lot of those traits and being a business and one of the most profitable businesses in the world, they still have that public-facing gamer first, like we are people doing this. And Google and Amazon don't have that.
Honestly, I think one of the biggest things, and if you're listening, Google and Amazon, you can cut a royalty check to this podcast. Feel free to take this idea. Get somebody to be the face of this. Get a Phil Spencer. Get somebody who is personable and will make it at least appear that you're not just trying to do a cash grab.
Right. Reggie's available.
Yeah. I mean, GameStop's closing down like 800 more stores.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do. You go out and you get the dream team, right? You get Reggie.
Yeah.
You get Sean Layden.
Perfect.
You get who else is out there? Jack Tretton. You get Don Matrick kind of fucked over the Xbox once, maybe not him. Whoever was before Don Matrick at Xbox. There's people out there you could get.
Get yourself a face. Don't be a faceless suit. Be a really recognizable face. Maybe not in a suit, but like with some personality. Get people invested. Make people think that you care.
Last news article for the day is an exciting announcement from a brand new game company called Dreamhaven. Dreamhaven announces its first two studios, Moonshot Games and Secret Door. This message comes from Dreamhaven's website in their announcements section. Mike Morhaime, former CEO and co-founder of Blizzard Entertainment and a host of industry veterans, today announced Dreamhaven. They're a new game company based in Irvine, California. Dreamhaven will create and publish original games for players around the world, and it has established its first two studios, Moonshot and Secret Door. I'm excited to team up with such talented people who care deeply about games and their communities, said Dreamhaven CEO Mike Morhaime. I've always believed in the power of games to bring people together regardless of backgrounds and boundaries. With Dreamhaven, we look forward to creating and sharing new experiences with players everywhere. The team at Dreamhaven came together around a common goal to empower creators, help bring their ideas to life, and create original gaming experiences that foster meaningful connections between players. And dropping down into the individual studios, it gives a little bit of background about the people who have founded the two studios, Moonshot Games and Secret Door. Moonshot is led by Jason Chias, Dustin Browder, and Ben Thompson. Chias was previously an executive producer at Blizzard Entertainment, where he led the Hearthstone team, a senior director at Electronic Arts, and before that led an art team for the Walt Disney Company's game division. Browder's 25-year career includes roles as game director on StarCraft II, Heroes of the Storm, Command & Conquer, and The Lord of the Rings. Thompson's credits include creative director on Hearthstone, art director for the World of Warcraft trading card game, with additional credits on Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. Moonshot is also home to a team of seasoned developers who have collectively worked on some of gaming's most popular franchises. Then down to Secret Door. Secret Door is led by Chris Sigati, Alan Dabiri, and Eric Dodds, who have worked on multiple genre-defining games. Sagati's roles have included executive producer on Hearthstone, StarCraft II, and Heroes of the Storm, as well as lead producer on the original Warcraft 3. Dodds was the original game director of Hearthstone and veteran game designer on World of Warcraft and StarCraft. Dabiri has filled both technical director and game director roles and has worked on Warcraft 3, StarCraft II, and Heroes of the Storm. They are also joined by a team of highly talented developers with extensive industry experience and are beginning to explore new game experiences together. All of that to say, Mark Morhaime, one of the founders of Blizzard Entertainment, one of the people who have shaped and put the philosophy of that company into place and really is responsible for Blizzard being the way that it is, has created a new game company that has two studios that are all helmed by ex-Blizzard developers who left Blizzard because of Activision, basically.
So it's Blizzard 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly. Blizzard.
And join us here in 1 week to find out that they have been since purchased by Microsoft.
Mark Morhaime went and got the old gang back together, and then he immediately sold out to Phil Spencer. But yeah, this is super exciting. I mean, Blizzard, I still like Blizzard's games a lot. Overwatch is still one of my favorite games. I've played StarCraft. I like StarCraft. I played a little bit of Warcraft before, or not Warcraft, Diablo rather. World of Warcraft was a seminal game for me growing up. Blizzard, one of my favorite developers, one of my favorite publishers for a long time. But since they merged with Activision, you can tell that a lot of the heart and soul of that company has sort of been taken out.
Just like Twitch.
For sure. Yeah.
It's the Twitch situation with Amazon all over again, just for a studio instead of a streaming service.
Yeah. And you can see that, you know, a lot of these developers, like all of the people that they listed here were senior people at Blizzard. They were senior people on Hearthstone, senior people on World of Warcraft and StarCraft and Warcraft. And like, when that much talent leaves a publisher, and granted, nowhere did it say in this announcement that it's because Activision came and bought Blizzard. But it's,
No, they're not gonna. I mean, it'd be really funny if they did say that, but they're not gonna say
No.
that.
you can tell that that's what it is. And you could, just by the way that they announced this, like, we're really excited about getting back to making games the way we want to make games. The way that our creative direction takes us, we're going that direction.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about that. You know, it's going to be 5 years probably before we see anything from either of these two studios. But
For sure.
you know, to know that they exist, to see that even in the year 2020, even in the age of a global pandemic, we have new studios being created that are full of extremely talented industry veterans that, you know, we're not sure we're not sure they're going to be making AAA games, but you would be led to believe, based on the talent that they have, that they will be creating masterpieces at some point.
For sure. Lots of things happening in the gaming world.
That all happened in like the last 5 days. What's going to happen in the next 5 days? That's what I want to know.
I'm telling you, Microsoft announces the acquisition of Moonshot Games and Secret Door Studios.
I think at that point we have to take you to Vegas, and you're gonna have to make a bunch of really bad decisions. Yeah, with your money.
Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out.
Did I miss anything? Anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, if you like what you heard, you can find our podcast on podcast services all around the internet, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and more. You can also find our podcast on twitch.tv/CDR Magnus every Thursday live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to join us for the live show, please do. We won't interact with you maybe in the chat. Maybe we will. If you want to correct us, that's a big thing. I really want people to correct us, because every now and then I'll go back and listen to a podcast and I'll say something or hear myself say something that was just totally wrong. And it was either like a slip of the tongue, or like I'll go back and do some research at that time and just I say stuff that's totally unfounded. Call me out on that stuff. Come join us on the live show. Call me out so that I don't say incorrect things, because I don't like being incorrect.
That's fair.
But join us on Thursdays again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the live show. You can also find our podcast on YouTube the day after it comes out. So usually Friday afternoon is when that goes live. And that's where you can find us. I will be streaming some more starting next week. Gonna play 13 Sentinels, probably get back into some Dark Souls, depending on how long 13
Do you have
Sentinels
plans
take.
you're going to play through all of them, right?
At some point. It's not like something that I'm going to be working on continuously.
Sure.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of like, I don't know how far I'm in. How far would you say I'm in?
You're pretty far. Like, I'd say definitely, I'd say you're over halfway.
Okay. I kind of feel like I've got enough of it right now. Like, I'm good
That's
for a little bit.
Like, at this point, if I remember right, you just have to collect certain things. Do you know what you have to get? Okay.
No.
You'll figure it out.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to play all of them, yes, before I get Demon Souls. But when am I going to get Demon Souls? Probably not
day
for a
one.
while. No, not day one. Probably, if I had to guess, not until sometime next year.
That's
like
fair.
middle to late of next year. So we'll see.
All right.
But I'll be streaming this weekend. And I think that's about it. Follow me on Twitter at CDR Magnus. John is on Twitter at John Kamenko. You can also find me on Instagram at CDR Magnus. I like to post pictures of toys. So find that stuff there.
That's better than me. I like to post pictures of the places I travel to, which as of recently has been my like kitchen and living room and bedroom and maybe a neighborhood walk.
Should start like a travel show about your house. Just like do the Amazing Race, but it's like only you and it's in your house.
I love it and hate it all at once.
Anything else for the good of the order before we wrap up for the evening?
Nah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We will check you all next week.
Goodbye, friends.
See you.